The next morning, Mother Nature has put a layer of frost on the car. We start out very early, heading toward Reno, Nevada, past an old schoolhouse, down by Summer Lake, and down 395 south, through the old logging town and cow town of Alturas, California. Our little gasoline motor pushes us south. Marge always likes to stop at the town of Likely, California. They have a bunch of used books they give. We'll spend our first night at Harrah's Club in Reno. I don't exactly like the culture of these casinos, but the food is great in there and the price is right for the night, so I guess I can put up with it. We went to their buffet dinner. It was a really good price for senior citizens, but we both overdone it and made ourselves sick on too much food. Our hotel room is okay. Next morning, we're up bright and early, and the Sierra Nevada mountains are standing tall in the background. The next night, we'll spend tent camping at a hot springs in Nevada called Fish Lake Hot Springs. What a flow and what a nice place, and we had the whole place to ourselves. That beat all the casinos in. There were ducks paddling in some of the ponds from the hot springs, and we saw koi fish swimming freely in the. An old coot comes close, pecking away, taking. He appears to be enjoying the hot water. Our little backpack tent served us well for that single night at Fish Lake Hot Spring. The little towns along Highway 95 all seem to have died. Looks like one of the working ladies is out drumming up business in front of the sign of Angels Ladies. Truck parking, free for all night, and you get massages there. Some very bad boys flew their airplane in here and wrecked it. I wonder what their wives thought of that. And the sign says they're open all the time. We drive by my cousin Art's place in Beatty, Nevada. He has passed on, but the place is still there. Then we go south of Beatty and we see another one of these ranches. Then through Sin City. We'll just bypass Sin City and get through it as quick as possible. We neither have the time nor money to fool away at this place. Over the dam and past Lake Mead, we head southeast to Phoenix and to our friend Glenn and Anita's place in the edge of Phoenix. Next morning, we took Glenn's vehicle, and he's going to drive us up to see some of the sights. We were planning to only spend the night, but who could resist seeing these sights up north of Phoenix between. Glenn accused me of flirting with the little park ranger girls, but of course Glenn wouldn't do it. This is strictly business, and he's strictly getting information. And those smiles, well, they don't mean a thing. We walked down the trail to see the cliff-dwelling ruins of what is called Montezumas Castle, although it said Montezuma never showed up here. But wow, what a neat castle, tucked in a little alcove right in the cliffs. There are all sorts of little storage bins and little holes where they put things all around the main dwelling site. As we move down the trail, we see all sorts of other places where they lived, and even some of their mortars for grinding the crops that they grew here. These people were ancient farmers. They had developed corn and many other crops. They had beans and squash and all sorts of other vegetables which were very good. Glenn's drinking out of a paper bag. He says that that stuff is just plain water, though. I never checked. From Montezumas Castle to Montezumas Well.
Lived here at its heyday?
So probably about 150 to 200, but it's kind of hard to say exactly.
And they did farming here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where did they farm?
So they actually farmed down by the picnic area, if you've been down that way.
Oh, yeah.
And there's actually irrigation canals that lead from, so the, it goes out through the Swallet, which is under that ridge right there, and it goes down to the other side. If you walk down there, you'll see the outlet.
Oh, it's a natural outlet?
It is, but then what they did was they made a canal. And so there's a canal which brings it way down, actually out past the park boundaries. And if you go down towards the picnic area, you can see where an example of the prehistoric canal. So you'll see where the where the limestone sort of made a layer on the outside, like permanent, and basically made it looks like concrete, but it isn't.
Oh.
It's just where it all deposited.
Just natural deposits from the mineral in the water?
Yeah.
And so they grew beans and corn and squash and pumpkins?
I'm not sure about pumpkins specifically, but they did have squash. They actually grew cotton as well, so they were really good textile.
Well, is cotton indigenous to North America too?
No, it would have come up from Central America.
Oh,
so they had pretty extensive trade routes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know they really had trade routes. And so then they could weave out of this cotton and also eat the seeds, I suppose. A good
Yeah,
source
the
of
seeds are
protein.
really high in protein.
Yeah.
From Montezumas Well up near Sonora. This is a very exclusive, artsy little town up here. Glenn is going to take us up to a Catholic church perched high up on the rocks above Sonora. We have to hike the last little bit of the trail and we'll soon be at this special church. We take in the $1 million view from outside the old church, and then we'll be able to actually go inside. It's a tall, slender church with 20-foot tall doors, I believe, and windows tall and skinny. There's even a place where Catholics can light a candle for some departed loved one. Another hit from that jug would go pretty well now. You have to keep hydrated out in this sun of Arizona. Then to another ancient Indian ruins. This one is built right up on a hill, and then their farming was conducted out in the flat meadows beyond, and they even had irrigation too. This pre-Columbian culture was extremely clever with their works of rocks, and these rock walls are solid and straight, and we can see the different things they used in their culture right in front.
I can handle this location. You can walk to it rather than climb.
Yeah.
And then you can look down.
Go away to the water.
Yeah, that's the only disadvantage I imagine here. They have to pack their water in.
They made good use of juniper poles for the roofs in their dwellings, and there were over 200 people lived here. Many, many rooms and tons of rocks. Without even the wheel or beasts of burden, these people stacked it up and built what they needed. Our next stop will be an old ghost town and sort of an old mining museum. There were old tractors and cars and all sorts of antique stuff in this little museum at an old mine. Little museum at an old mine. Old crawler tractors. There's a sign that says Tippin ain't no town in China, and then there's a resident.
That we have, then you can really go anywhere nowadays.
Yeah. What'd you say this machine was now?
It's called a Pelton wheel.
The Pelton wheel?
Pelton wheel.
And that was to generate electricity, you say? Oh, yeah.
200 pounds of pressure blasted into those cups.
Oh, yeah.
And one of these wheels made 1,000 horsepower.
Wow.
It's 48 cups, so it's basically a 48-cylinder engine.
Oh, wow.
So it's firing every, I don't know what the RPM was. It's 10,000 feet per minute, rim speed.
Wow.
So that'd be a lot different RPM at the shaft.
Yeah. The sawmill that's powered by a World War II diesel submarine engine. And this is the kind of sawmill you ride the carriage on. What'd you say his name is?
Pedro.
Pedro?
Yep.
And
He's our Democrat.
he's a Democrat?
Yep.
And
He's our resident begging Democrat.
oh, and he's never worked a day in his
Never
life,
worked
but
a single
never
day.
missed a meal.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
He's got it figured out.
Yeah.
Then to the old schoolhouse with the school desk and the inkwells that you dip the pigtail of the girl that's sitting ahead of you right in the inkwell. Lots and lots of old antique cars. Glenn, you just well fire that up and go for a ride in it.
Wow! My gosh! Yeah! Yeah! Wow, it's huge! Oh, wow!
He's building up some pressure, and as soon as he gets enough pressure built up, he's going to fire up Big Bertha with about 14-inch cylinders, a giant steam engine that was used to run a generator for about 35 years. The tractor and the belt on the tractor runs a huge air compressor that builds up the pressure to get Big Bertha fired up. He invited me to go up with him on the platform to fire Big Bertha up. I was a little reluctant to do it, I didn't know what she'd do. I never heard such noise in all my life as Big Bertha spit out steam.
Wow, that was nice.
When Big Bertha started backfiring, I decided it was time to take a leave of absence. It didn't seem to bother the old South. An old stamp mill for crushing ore so it can be run through a sluice box or panned.
No, they had a dummy in there. That's pretty good. If you're drinking, just forget. Please pay in advance. Is that what it says?
Okay, would you read that again, Glenn?
A 19.2 Studebaker electric Westinghouse 48-volt motor, 1750 RPM, dated May 11th. Oh, that's not. Regenerative braking standard, top speed 13 miles per hour, field weakening for passing, whatever that means.
Wow.
In Indiana, steering on the right side, tiller steering, 4-passenger convertible.
Yeah, there's the steering mechanism. Wow.
There's even an old setting hen in the chicken house. There's even a fully equipped blacksmith shop. Must have something wrong with the fuel. I didn't want to dig a mine anyway. We leave Glenn's at about 4 o'clock the next morning, heading for Mexico. I'm going to see about getting my teeth fixed down there. We chose to park on the United States side of the border and take the short walk to Mexico. That way we didn't have to buy Mexican insurance on our automobile, and it's really no problem just to walk over, and within a few steps you're in Mexico, and you meet a variety of merchants trying to sell you a bit of everything, from dental work, eyeglasses to trinkets. They're right on the ball, ready to sell you whatever you might want. Most of the street vendors are family oriented. The whole family is there. Part of them are marketing, and then The rest of them are making the products with a sewing machine set right on the street where they can sew up just exactly what you need. And they always try to get you to try things on thinking you'll like it. You must try everything out, and if they think you're even remotely interested in something, they'll grab a bag and bag it up for you and shove it at you. They had quite a few wood carvings. They claim it's ironwood. I think it's probably tamarisk or salt cedar though. And they are painting on stones and even vases and on canvas with that lacquer that's not a bit healthy to breathe, but they seem to be doing fine just breathing it right in. I have been to the dentist and they determined I needed some crowns on my teeth, so we go in the dentist's office and they prepare them for my teeth, and then the lab is right in the same building, and they have several people in there making dentures for some, and they're also making the crowns for mine in here. They spend a lot of time and do a really good job on it, I think. And here's the dental office. These people work really long hours and are open about 7 days a week. While we're waiting for my crowns, which took almost a week, we camped out in a remote area of the Empire Sand Dunes. The flowers are just starting to bloom by now, and it was a really nice place to camp. We walked from our campsite down to the little hot springs, which is an artesian hot well, and this well was drilled by Patton as he was training troops for World War II. There's a very pleasant pool here with palm trees all around it. These palm trees have grown here on their own. The sunrises and sunsets are second to none here from the hot springs, so we're really enjoying it while my teeth are being fixed. Every single morning when we would get up, we'd see the Sidewinder rattlesnake tracks in the trail right in front of our camp.
Like the shadows on the wall, come and lay down by my side till the early morning light. All I'm taking is your time. Help me make it through the night, and I don't care what's right or wrong, and I don't try to understand. Let the devil take the morrow. Oh, tonight I need a friend. Yesterday is dead and gone, and tomorrow's out of sight. It's so sad to be alone. Help me make it through the night. Tomorrow's out of sight. It's so sad to be alone. Help me make it through the night, and I don't care what's right or wrong, and I don't the devil take tomorrow. Oh, tonight I need a friend. Yesterday is the day, and tomorrow's outside. It's so sad to be alone. Help me make it through the night. I don't wanna be alone. Help me.
Oh, he's got a kid with him, huh?
Through the night.
That's good. Oh my God, you know.
The antlions have set their ant trap and lay down concealed in the sand below it, waiting for the ant to drop by, and then he'll be dinner. Every day when we go down to have my past the imperial sand dunes, and what a sight to see all that moving sand piled so high.